Hi, I'm Randy from MotorMania Media, and today we have Jim. Jim is a race car driver, and I'm walking down the McCacken aisle here today, looking at all these cars, and I look over here and I go, world record holder. I said, I gotta get that story. Jim, first thing I'm going to ask you is what got you into wanting to be a race car driver?
Well, how I got into Bonneville racing is I went to South Bend to the international meet.
Sure.
And I met Ron Hall there. And Ron Hall was taking Studebaker Power in 25 years since Studebaker Power had been on the Salt.
Okay.
And so he mentioned that he was going to do that. Well, I didn't know Ron Hall or anything about him, so he went out that year with a friend of mine from Louisiana.
And how old were you at this time?
I was 52 at the time. And so, excuse me, we talked a little bit, and then I thought, you know, I've never been to Bonneville. I want to go see that place. So he went that year for the first time in '88. And so '89, I called him and talked to him, and I said, I'd like to go out there as a crew member to see if something I would like to do.
Okay, so you're doing the research.
Yes.
Okay.
So I went out in '89 with him, and I got on the Salt and had a chance to put hands on his car. And so I said, you know, I think this is what I want to do with my car. But I thought, I didn't know how to go about it or how to get there until I went with
Oh,
Ron
absolutely.
Hall.
Who the hell would be there?
Yeah. So after I went out there, I contracted salt fever. So salt fever got me. And so
I didn't even know there's such a thing.
So in 1989, I started building the car.
Okay.
And I'd call Ron Hall every night, and we'd talk for hours to get information on the car and
Sure.
what to do and how to do it. And so we went out there in 1990 for the first time, and I only had 436 horsepower.
Okay.
That got me to 168 mile per hour.
Not close enough, right?
No.
So he gets the phone call. Guess what? Ain't working.
So when we got out there, I was asking guys there, I said, what do I need to do with my car? Do I need to lower it, raise it, what? And they said, all of them told me, oh, you need to get the car as close to the ground as you can.
Makes sense, right?
Well, I thought so, but
So what happened?
so the first run I made, the back end was trying to pass me the front end at 130 mile an hour. And I thought, hey, this is not
This
gonna
isn't
work.
right.
No. So we decided we need to get the back end up.
Okay.
So we ordered air shocks and put them on the bus to come in. Well, the bus come in and went through and never dropped them off. So we lost the day of racing. So then we put the shocks on and got the back end up.
Okay.
And I'd already had about 400 pounds of ballast in the trunk.
Okay.
And so, man, the car handled good, you know.
Okay.
And,
So now you got control.
So now I got control of it, and so, and I had these Paxton superchargers and 400 and some horsepower. Well, that wasn't enough. You know.
Wow. What was the speed at that point?
168.
Okay.
168 is as fast as I went with it.
Okay.
So we went through me getting my licensing and getting used to it, and so I said, we're coming back next year, you know. So we got away from the Paxton superchargers, and then I put twin turbos on it. Started getting the horsepower up.
Right.
And each year we ran a little faster and a little faster. So I kept building the engine. I done a lot of flow bench work. I done a lot of dyno work. And finally, I got to a point.
Those are all the necessary ingredients as you're going in the right
absolutely.
direction. And what was the target speed to beat back then?
I ran in a class where there'd never been a record set. So
how smart is that?
Whatever I ran was
was
record.
going to be the record.
But my goal was to get in the 2 club.
Okay.
Well, you got to run 200 mile an hour.
Right.
You got to already. Well, let me back up here a little bit.
Sure.
In order to get in the 2 club, you had to run, I thought, 200.
Okay.
Well, the president of the 2 club came to me and he says, no, we're setting your record at 210.
Why?
And I said, why? He said, we want to protect the integrity of our club.
So he wants a record that is almost unreachable, but they want it reached so that people just can't beat it every year.
Yeah.
Or one car beat it after another.
And he said,
I get it.
You can do it. I thought, well, I hope so.
Yeah.
So I kept running faster each run, and I got to a point where I was, I ran 212. So,
wow. So what was it like breaking 200 miles? I mean, are you watching your speedometer going, come on, baby, we can do 2, right?
There's a wall at 200.
Okay.
A lot of people tell you it's hard to get to 200. Well, I finally got to 201, then I got to 205, then to 207. I just kept climbing up there. So anyway, when I got to 212, that qualified me for a record.
Yep.
So the next morning, you have to make a return run. It can't be an average. It's got to be 210 or better.
Got it.
So next day I go out at 7 o'clock, make my run.
How are you feeling that morning?
Oh, I was thinking, I hope I can make it. I done 212, I can surely make it again.
I would have been hoping, I hope this car holds up for another fast run again.
That's right. So I went out there and the salt was really wet and slick.
First time you experienced it or not?
That was the first time I'd experienced it being that wet and slick.
Oh, okay.
So
what do you think?
So I'm in the first measured mile, which is the 3rd mile, and I'm running, at the first mile, I'm only running 188. And I'm thinking, man, I'm slipping all over here. Am I going to be able to make it?
Got it.
Well, I hit some dry patch there, and I could pick up some more speed. Well, I got into the 4th mile, which is the 2nd measured mile, and the car was pretty steady. But then I hit a slick spot at about the middle of, or better, of the 4th mile. And I thought, oh man, how am I going to do this,
Right.
So I got into a dry spot towards the end. So I just put it to the floor and I just held on. And I went through the last mile and I thought, I'm looking at the tack at that time. Well, you can't look down at the tack and figure it out. And so I come through the 5th mile and I pulled off the course, and the course steward met me, and he has a slip there. He wrote down my speed.
Sure.
I went through there at 210.330. I just did make it. So I got the 2 club. So that's my story there. That was in 1996.
God.
So I continued to race because I wanted to see how fast I could really go with this car. And the fastest Studebaker that ever ran out there was 200.6. Ron Hall had done that.
So you crushed that though, right?
Yeah, I took that away. So I continued to race. I raced out there 11 years off and on out of the 20-some years that I had went there. And so when I got to that point, I thought, I need to see how fast this car will really go. So we decided, and in the meantime, in 2000...
Who was the tech guys working on the engines and everything? Was it the same crew all these years? That was you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I can spend 57 years fixing electric motors, I can fix gas engines.
Okay, I get it. I get the rest.
So anyway, we went back because in 2003 a guy took my record from me.
Okay.
He bumped it up to 219.
Got it.
So I thought, I got to get that back.
You bet.
So I come back at that year in 2009, and I ran 2:23, which is my record there. And so when we got back into the pit area, the guy that had taken my record was just 2 cars down from me. And he was from Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so I went down to him and I said, Ragsdale, I said, I got my record back that you stole from me. He goes, well, it's about time.
So there's a camaraderie.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because one of my crew members' name was Ragsdale too.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. So anyway, when I did get my record, I told my Ragsdale, I said, get in the car. You drive it down the course there. And I said, you can run 150. And so we got in there, and he was thrilled to death. He got 150 there.
Wow. So, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, really awesome.
So I thought, we're not done here, because I think we can go faster yet. So I built a brand new engine. Oh, it was an awesome engine.
Wow.
I found a new old stock block.
In the same car?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this was my spare engine. So I built this new engine. It was a magnificent looking piece. Well, I looked on the computer sheets that we had, and there was a new
Do they have those Dynotechs? Is that what you're talking about?
Pardon?
Is it like a Dynotech where you put the car on the rollers and you let them rip and then it'll give you?
Well, I've been on the
you have
engine dyno, and I've been on the wheel dyno.
Okay.
But we were running out of time. We didn't have a chance to get the car on the wheel dyno to see what we had there. But this new cam said I should have 150 more horse out of it. Well, we get to Bonneville, the first run I made, it wasn't pulling for crap. 193 is all I could get out of it. So I pulled off the course, and as soon as I shut the engine off, the course steward said he seen something blow out. And he said, did you blow water out? And I said, I don't know. I couldn't see what was blowing out. So we took the car back to the pit area, and so we looked under the hood there, and I seen a piece of aluminum laying on the manifold.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, where'd that come from?
What was it?
Well, when we blew a head gasket in one cylinder, the water pressured up the block. When I shut the engine off, that pressure come back on top of the piston and caused it to you can't compress a liquid.
No, you can't.
It blew that cylinder clear out of the block.
Out of the bottom. Wow.
Yeah. So that I said, that's enough. I'm going to retire the car.
Wow.
So, yeah,
that's crazy.
I'm just thrilled to death that we got the new record, and I can call
Absolutely.
it
And it's still standing?
Yes.
How cool is it? So when did you decide I'm done?
Well, my wife called me when I was in impound after I made my second run, and she said, did you get the record? And I said, I don't know. They've got to check the displacement of the engine, and they've got to check the gas I'm using.
Oh, and make sure it's legit.
Yeah.
Sure.
And she always thought I was going to get killed out there.
Oh, can you blame her? What if she was out there? Right?
Yeah.
You'd be at home going, even if she was skilled, there's always that chance.
Yeah. So she said, did you get the record? And I said, well, I got to check the engine and the gas. And she goes, well, now you need to get the car and see how fast it'll go. And I go, who are you?
Wow.
So I said,
impressive.
no, we got a new record. We're coming home with it. So that's when I retired it.
And I'm sure that was a great ending to a great trilogy, right?
Yes.
I mean, you knew when to call it. You and your marriage is great. That's a great story.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you one question, and we're going to go back, way back.
Okay.
Way back. So guys aren't just born car racers, right?
That's right.
What got you into wanting the need for speed, as they would say in today's world? What was your first thing where you're going on an object or whatever, and you're like, I like this, right? So then you build either a different contraption, a different mousetrap to go faster and then pretty soon it becomes a habit. You crave it. Is that pretty much the story of your life, and when did that start?
Well, when I was 14, and Mom had bought a new ironing board, a metal one, and she was going to throw away the oak ironing board. And I
And
looked
what
at,
year was that when you were 14? Remember about?
Oh, that was about 1954, I think,
All right.
thereabouts.
So I'm 63 and I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah.
And you're playing around with mama's stuff.
So I started building this, and I found a Briggs Model Y engine at a guy that sold all kinds of junk. And I thought, well, that's what I'll put on there. So I built me a hand clutch, and I'd go and pick up pop bottles along the highway so I could get, 2 cents a piece to get enough money to go to the welding shop to pay him 50 cents for welding something for me.
Oh, how awesome was that, right?
So,
right, that's creative.
Yeah.
You're a little entrepreneur wanting to build your first race car.
So after I built the go-kart, and we'd have to put our feet around like this to guide it. We didn't have a steering wheel.
Oh, got it.
And we used our tennis shoes as brakes.
You were Fred Flintstone.
So one Saturday, Mom bought me a new pair of penny loafers.
Okay.
So I went out that afternoon and I was going all around town and using those new penny loafers. When I got home, the heel was wore completely off.
I was going to say, you just upset mama.
Well, then my cousin...
Now, were those attached with glue or with little nails? Do you remember back then, the heels?
They were nailed on, I think.
That's what I thought, right?
Yeah.
So they had a little bit of tread on there. I mean, when you were braking, you were literally creating sparks.
Oh, you know it. Well, then my cousin, 2 years younger than me, he said, well, Mom's got a new metal ironing board. And he says, I'd like to build me one. So we started building him one.
Oh, did you start a production?
Yeah, could have. So,
well, guys got great with slinkies and yo-yos.
But we didn't have an engine for him.
Oh, okay.
Well, he lived next door to my grandpa, and so he said, hey, Grandpa's got a real type lawnmower that the city gave him when he retired. He said, we can take that engine off of there. So we went over that day, never asked him, took the engine off. He come out to mow the next day and no engine on his lawnmower. So we got it built.
Did you tell him you're doing a professional experimentation on the future of the auto business?
I don't think he would have wanted to hear that. Now, getting back to my grandpa, my dad was in the service. He was in the Navy. So the only dad I knew was my grandpa.
Gotcha.
And over the years, great man.
What's that?
He was a great man.
I bless you. Everybody's got their heroes. I get it. I just saw your Superman.
So anyway, we built this go-kart for my cousin, and we took that Briggs engine, which was 1 3/4 horse. Well, my old Model Y was only 3/4 of a horse. So we'd go down the main street going out of town, and he could outrun me. So I said, Grandpa, I got to get another engine. My cousin's outrunning me.
Oh, no.
So we bought this real lawnmower.
Okay, sure.
Made by Oldsmobile Company. And so I took that engine. It was a neat, had a 45-degree angle on the cylinder. And your output shaft was your camshaft.
Wow.
And so that's what we was driving. So that little engine had to run twice as fast as his Briggs. So we got down on the street there, and I seen a guy there, and I said, would you follow us in your car so we can see how fast we're going? So he said, yeah. So we took off as fast as we could go, and I couldn't outrun him, he couldn't outrun me. So we pulled off the side of the road, and I asked that guy, I said, how fast were we going? He goes, 23 mile an hour. Can you imagine 23 mile an hour on an ironing board? So that's my beginning of my racing career.
Oh my God, that is so great.
So then I bought a 57 Oldsmobile, and it was standard shift, which was rare, and it had a higher gear ratio on it. And so we'd get out on the interstate, and we'd run it up in second gear as fast as we'd go, and the speedometer says 115.
Wow.
So but we had to kind of do that at night because of the
Absolutely,
cops,
I get it. I get it.
So
wow.
That's kind of my story, how I got started in racing. And my wife says, you drive like crazy in town all the time. She finally got used to it, though.
And when you reflect on all of this stuff, I mean, what a ride you've had, right, in life?
Absolutely.
I mean, you were so blessed with, it seemed like a great mentor.
Yeah.
You found what heart and love is all about. You learned from that. You followed through on your passion. It sounds like you and your wife have had a great marriage. I mean, America, listen, this is what we need, right?
You know,
How blessed you are. Well, and this car. I mean, you know what they always say? Most people will their cars will be gone before they're born. But here's the deal: when you have a car like this, it's here and it'll be in a museum someday. It'll have a legacy, and now with us, it's got the story.
yeah.
It's got the story. Anything
So-
else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, you know, every run I made at Bonneville, I'd say, when I took off, I'd say, Jesus, keep me safe.
I do
He
that a
did.
lot too. Because we have faith, right, brother?
That's right, absolutely.
And you know what? There are probably times in our life when he was there, and you just don't see it, but you have to have
Yeah.
the faith to know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the
Oh, it's
time
been a
and
pleasure.
telling us the rest of the story.
Yes, people need to hear that story because
Absolutely.
it's a good one. you
World
know.
record driver, world record car. What a great life.
And
what
started
a
out
great
with
story.
the ironing board.
It all started with the ironing board. Thank you so much.